I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for being here today. I know it's a controversial subject, but it tells me that you're interested and you care about your health. I also want to say that I'm a Southern girl at heart, even though I live in the Bay Area, and just being here these last 2 days have really made me homesick. The people here are really, really loving and caring. That Southern hospitality really shows, and I miss it, and I've been experiencing it everywhere I go. So I thank all of you for that. I want to begin by telling you a little bit about myself. I have never, ever smoked medical cannabis. And I will use the word cannabis rather than marijuana, because marijuana has such bad connotations. Cannabis is the scientific name that it used to be called over 3,000 years ago, and was always in the realm of spirituality or medicine. Just when it got to the United States in the 30s, it went to marijuana, and it has really bad connotations. So we put it back and claim its rightful place by calling it cannabis, because it is a medicine. I see it as a medicine, and I want to tell you my background, what I do, and I want to tell you how I went from being a former Catholic school principal of 2 schools, and now I'm an advocate for seniors and medical cannabis. The people, my family, think I'm crazy. You know, they can't believe it. I can't believe it, but I'm going to tell you how I got there. But currently, I do senior outreach for Harborside Health Center, which is one of the largest cannabis dispensaries in Oakland. It's been in existence for six years now. And that place is remarkable. It's a state-of-the-art healthcare center. It's professionally run, and it's regulated by the city and state. And it looks like a medical facility. If it didn't have those standards, I wouldn't be affiliated with it. I just wouldn't. It has to be in compliance with that. I'm a commissioner. I'm a commissioner for Alameda County, Commissioner on Aging. I work with the aging population. I help make decisions about what's good for the seniors. I'm also certified by the state of California to teach the medical cannabis program to administrators, nurses, and people who are in senior housing facilities that take care of seniors. I can give them CEUs. I can certify them in that, as well as teach them the medical cannabis program, and also work with caregivers. Also work with United Seniors of Oakland, and it's about 10,000 seniors. I work with them. So that same love and compassion I had for my parents and my students has now gone into seniors. I think seniors, I think we're the forgotten ones. And I've just been drawn, and now it's a lifelong mission to help make our elder years, as we grow older, the best possible. And I see the medical cannabis as being an alternative to the many pharmaceutical drugs. Another reason, I'm a health and wellness advocate. I've always believed in eating right most of the time and exercising and stuff like that. But I am appalled at the pharmaceutical approach to healthcare. Now, don't stop taking your medications. Just know pharmaceuticals have its place, but it definitely shouldn't be the way we manage our health, because of the side effects of those pharmaceutical drugs with that chain reaction that's really causing the deterioration to our liver, our kidneys, our pancreas, our hearts. And so there are other ways to doing this. And so I see medical cannabis as a way. And I'm going to tell you about a little bit later the work that I've been doing with seniors, and how one by one their off of the pharmaceutical drugs and only using the cannabis. But first I'd like to tell you how I got into this. Cannabis was never in our home. I have 3 sons. My eldest is 38 and I have 2 that are 34. And I have 3 grandkids and 1 on the way. And so, in growing up, my kids could never say they came to our house and we were smoking pot. If I would have caught any of them smoking, I would have called the police myself. I would have called it. I thought it was a drug. I thought it was a hardcore Segway drug. I really did. We were upper middle class, living in the hills of Oakland, and you know, I was experiencing reefer madness. How many of you are familiar with reefer madness? It scared the you know what out of all of us, including me. And so I was just scared of it. I said it was a drug, like heroin. And so when I retired from being a principal, I moved to Atlanta and through a nice place in Buckhead. And I was writing a book. I'm also an author of a parenting handbook. And I was writing my book, and I'm also a metaphysical minister. I'm an ordained minister as well. I got a whole bunch of stuff I do, but I won't go into all of those. But I was just enjoying, you know, not working, and I get a phone call from my son, my eldest son, Jamal. Now, all 3 of my sons went to college, you know, doing really well. But this particular son, who's my eldest, he's always been a businessman, and he's never, ever got into trouble, and he always was on the straight and narrow, you know, and I never have to worry about him. And so he calls me. He said, Mom, he says, I'm in Atlanta, he's in Oakland. He says, Mom, I figured out a way you could have that holistic spiritual center you've been wanting. So I said, oh, really? How's that, son? He said, well, he said, you could have your center, your spiritual center, holistic center, with a medical cannabis dispensary to support it. So I said, I said, you talking about that marijuana stuff? And he said, yeah, Mom. I've been going to take classes at Amsterdam. He says, I've been there all weekend, and I've learned so much. It's a medicine, and they teach you all kinds of things. And he said, it's a way, you know, we could do it. He said, you could run the holistic center, and I'll run the cannabis part. So I said, I said, okay, son, send me the literature that you've been, that they've been brainwashing you with. You know, I said, send it to me. So he did. You guys, this is the honest to God truth. Now you think about this. My husband and I sent these kids to Catholic school. They've been in Catholic school all of their lives. All of them went to college. So he tells me this. So I hang up the phone, and I sat down and I said, okay. I said, Lord, I done sent this boy to Catholic school all of his life. I done sent him to college. You know, and he didn't get it in 4 years. He went 5 or 6 years. He said, now he's calling me, telling me he want to sell weed. I said, oh my God, you know, what is happening? So I stewed with that for a while. And then I read the literature. I read all of that stuff he sent. I came back home. But it wasn't because of what I read. I thought I was losing him to drugs. I said, I haven't lost him in all of these years. You know, I have a lot of time, money invested in this child. I packed up everything I had and moved back to California. Not because I thought I'd be doing this, but because I was losing him to drugs. My kids have never been on drugs. And so, and I'm a good mom, you know, I'm a great mom. I was a great mom. So I read the information I looked at him, you know how we do, got to see him. You know, he looked okay. You know, he didn't look like he was smoking or anything like that. He really just saw it as a business, and where I could do what I needed to do. And so that's when I met Stephen D'Angelo, the founder of Harborside Health Center. I consulted with him, so we were going to open up a dispensary. But the short of the story is they banned it. And when they banned it in LA County, Stephen D'Angelo asked me to do senior outreach. He said, you know, Sue, our seniors don't have access to this medicine. Would you do it? And so I said, okay. Well, I didn't know what I was doing, but I did know I was interested in health and wellness. See, that was the key. So I started showing up and talking. The more I talked, especially to patients, I saw what it did. There's a lot of research, not here in the United States much, but in Israel, in Germany, and in the other countries. I read all of that, and I was intrigued. I said, But you guys, you know what convinced me the most? Was the stories from the patients. I saw people I've worked with, those seniors. What I would do is I go to large senior facilities and I invite them for a tour of the dispensary, because people don't know what a well-run, regulated dispensary looks like. And I'm absolutely certain that's what is being promoted here, because it can be done. And so I invite them to the dispensary. Now you have to have a certification, you have to have a recommendation to come in. You know, they have a checking system. You have to have it. But if you come as my guest, you don't have to have it. But this is how we've done it. I get my list together of the seniors. You have to take that list and you have to email it to the city. They want to know anybody that's in the building that doesn't have a doctor's recommendation. See, the doctor recommendations are key. Nobody gets in without it. When new patients come in, when seniors come in, if they have their recommendations from